Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on Elite Academy and welcome back to our daily issue analysis. Today again we have come up with one of the important current affairs issue. So let's start our discussion. Today we are going to discuss about the aviation sector in India, and it is in news because of the safety issues. And you must have come across this news that Indian aviation sector is absolutely safe. Foreign carriers that came to India reported 15 technical snags in last 16 days. So basically there was a question mark on DGCA's also, that what kind of safety and security measures they are taking, whether it is sufficient or not sufficient. So lot of sometimes there was a crack on the window shield of the flights, the carriers, and some of the other technical issues were there in news, because of which we are discussing it today. Okay, so this was also news. The financial health of airline sector is real cause for concern, not the overblown safety issues. Okay, so you must have come across these days like how Go First people were, the technical staff was also on strike, and there were multiple issues related to SpiceJet, Go Air, safety, security, such concerns were there. So that's why we are discussing it in detail today. So let's understand the status of civil aviation in India with the help of few data. So the first data is that we have around 137 airports in India operating at in 2022. So as of June 2022, in India we have Airports Authority of India, which is responsible for creating, upgrading, and maintaining and managing the civil aviation infrastructure in the country. Which who is responsible? Airports Authority of India. So as of 2020, it operates, Airports Authority of India operates and manages around 137 airports in India. Next data is that the capacity, India's airport capacity is expected to handle around 1 billion trips annually by 2023. So that is the capacity, that is the potential which we have, right? Next data is domestic air traffic in India is growing. How? So we have a data to support this point. So air traffic, if we analyze, the domestic air traffic has in fact has more than doubled, and it was around 61 million passengers were there in 2013 and 14, and now in 2019 and 20 we have data that it has grown up to 137 million. So basically it has more than doubled. Okay, and this is the our growth over it is somewhere around 6% per annum. At that rate we are registering the growth. And if we analyze this domestic traffic, then our domestic traffic makes up 69% of the total airline traffic in South Asia. So that is huge. Then if we analyze from the cargo point of view, then the cargo handling in 2019 and 20, all Indian airports together, they handled 3.3 million metric tons of freight. That is 3.3 MMT, million metric tons of freight. So this is the data from the observation by the Standing Committee on Transport in 2021. They noted that India's cargo industry has huge potential with respect to its geographical location, and because the economy is also growing, there is growth in domestic and international trade in the last decade. So this is a data from 2019 and 2020 that our freight, the all the Indian airports together, they handle 3.3 million metric tons of freight. If we analyze this data, it is much lower than the cargo which is handled by Hong Kong. So Hong Kong handles around 4.5 million metric tons. If we analyze the data from Shanghai, Shanghai is handling 3.7 million metric ton. Okay, which these are the top three airports in top two airports within top three. So we have Hong Kong at first rank, Shanghai at the third rank. So these airports, they themselves are handling this much volume of the freight they are handling. And here we are talking about 3.3 million metric ton of freight of all the Indian airports together. So just imagine, don't you think that we have a huge potential? So yes. Okay. Next is, if we have to analyze the operational cost of the our carriers, then We have ATF, that is aviation turbine fuel. So aviation turbine fuel forms around 40% of the total operating cost of airlines. That's why the cost is high, on the higher side. So these are the important data related to this civil aviation status in India. And the next is related to accidents. So if we analyze the accidents in India, so here is the data with us that the accidents were on an average 0.82 accidents were there per million flights. And if we analyze the global data, so the global data is 3.02, and this is from 2019. So this is one of the important observation that our accidents are less when we analyze it from the global average point of view. If we analyze it with respect to India's performance itself, then the accidents which were there in India in 2014 were somewhere around 2.8. So accidents per million flights were 2.8 in 2014. So remember this the metric that what is the observation. So it is per million flight. So 2.8 per million flight in 2014, and in 2019 we have 0.82 accidents per million flights, and the global average is 3.02. It means we are improving. So the number of accidents have decreased in the recent years. So these are the important data which will help you in analyzing the status of civil aviation in India, be it with respect to capacity, the domestic carrier or the freight corridor, freight carrier, cargo capacity, the airports, the operational cost, or the accidents. So now you have to use this data in your analysis to substantiate your points, to substantiate your observation. Okay. Now let's analyze the other aspects of aviation sector in India. Now we will discuss about the challenges which is being faced by the sector, challenges in aviation industry. So let's discuss it one by one. So the first challenge is related to the financial stress in this sector. So for instance, if we analyze in the past 15 years, around 17 airlines have exited the market. That is huge. 15 साल में 17 airlines तो बाहर ही चले गए, and out of those, two airlines, Air Odisha Aviation Private Limited and Deccan Charter Private Limited, they exited the market in 2020. And Air India, we have seen that consistent losses were there in last 4 years, and finally government was trying from so many years to sell it off, and finally they were able to do so. So all the major private airlines in India, such as Indigo, SpiceJet, they are also facing losses, and especially they faced losses in 2018 and 19. They were very much in news because of their losses itself. And further, during pandemic, the operators in India, they reported losses worth around rupees 19,500 crore, while the airports reported losses worth more than rupees 5,000 crore. So that is the status of financial stress in India, especially the aircraft carriers. Next challenge is related to rising congestion. So the levels of congestion at airports are rising. Basically, the airport infrastructure point of view we are talking. So airports in India, they are witnessing these congestion owing to the increase in domestic and international passenger traffic. It is increasing day by day, and most of the major airports, if we say, they are operating at somewhere around 85% to 120% of their handling capacity. So that is huge, and definitely they are under stress if we analyze it from the infrastructure point of view. Okay, so that is one aspect. If we have to analyze the potential of air cargo, that is not fully realized. So as I have told you in the starting itself, that in 2019 and 20, all Indian airports together, they were handling 3.3 million metric ton, that is 3.3 MMT only of freight. And this is very much lower than the cargo which is handled by Hong Kong airport itself, that is 4.5 million MMT. Okay, so the Standing Committee on Transport also has noted that this is only because of inadequate infrastructure, and inadequate infrastructure is one of the major bottleneck in developing the country's air cargo sector. Very natural. If the infrastructure is not there, then how we will develop that cargo sector, or how the flights will run and how we will operate. So further we need to improve the Indian air cargo operators. Has to be like they should be given a special focus. And not only that, even the Standing Committee on Transport, they have observed that the Indian air cargo operators, they face discriminatory practices and regulatory impediments for operating international cargo flights in foreign countries. So a lot of discrimination is happening when it comes to the Indian air cargo operators. So that is also one of the problems. So inadequate infrastructure, discriminatory practices, regulatory impediments, regulatory constraints are there. So this was observed by Standing Committee on Transport 2021. So they have noted all these points. That's why we are not able to utilize our potential. So now you see how we are discussing. This is yours. This will be your side heading in your answer. That is potential of cargo not realized. And there we have taken the help of the data. And then there we have taken the help of the Standing Committee on Transport in order to analyze the different dimensions, be it of the infrastructure, be it of the discriminatory practices, be it of the capacity, or be it of the regulatory constraints. So this is how you should diversify your dimensions in the point. So I just like felt like sharing this answer writing tip with you, because most of the time we write that potential has been not utilized, but in what depth you should analyze the issue. So this is how you should analyze any issue. Okay. Next is rising cost of the ATF, that is aviation turbine fuel. So we have already discussed this data that ATF, that is aviation turbine fuel, it forms around 40% of the total operating cost of airlines, and it affects the financial viability of the carriers. And not only that, if the overall price will be high, then it affects the people who are traveling, who are using. So middle class people, we won't be able to bear the cost. So ATF prices have been consistently rising over the past years, and it places the stress on the balance sheets of the airline companies. So, if we talk about ATF, it attracts VAT, which is variable across from one state to other, and it does not have a provision for input tax credit because it is not included under GST. So, high rates of aviation fuel coupled with high VAT rates are adversely affecting airline companies. Are you understanding? You have taken this as a dimension, rising cost of ATF. You have taken the help of data, 40% of the total operating cost of airlines, and how it is affecting the financial viability. Also, you are saying that it is putting the stress on balance sheet of the air companies because coupled with VAT, which is variable from one state to other and not being covered under GST, so no input tax credit. So overall, the rates of the aviation fuel coupled with the VAT is adversely affecting the companies. ऐसे एनालाइज करना है व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एनालिसिस, तो एनालिसिस का ये डेप्थ होना चाहिए और ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. Until unless you analyze from this point of view, you won't be able to attract good marks. Next is costly MRO. So MRO means maintenance and repair operations. Okay, so this maintenance and repair in India is very costly. If in fact, it is highest globally. It is one of it. It is highest globally. So here, this sector, if we talk about maintenance and repair, it attracts 18% GST. So the providers, they have to compete on the sales price with overseas players that only pay 5%, and that too at cost price. Okay, so consequently, what is happening? Most of the airline contracts their maintenance overseas, leading to a loss of jobs and output also. Also, the MRO setups, when it comes to setting it up it in India, it is very costly. So these MRO facilities, the availability itself is very poor in India, and it is capital intensive. In fact, on one more thing, if we analyze, ये जितनी एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर्स होती हैं, एयर बसेस होती हैं, देयर इज नो प्रोडक्शन हैपनिंग इन इंडिया. Forget about their maintenance. प्रोडक्शन ही नहीं होता है, then how we will know about their maintenance, repair, their spare parts. So that's why the overall maintenance and repair becomes very costly in India, and it is attracting further GST of 18%. At the same time, the overseas player, they are paying only 5%. So the competitiveness, the overall जो competitive aspect है to compete, it has like it is becoming costly for the domestic players. And MRO setups for India or setting up them is a capital intensive field. So that's why we are also having shortage of that in India. Next issue is related to bottlenecks in RSCS Udan. So, in 2016, regional connectivity scheme was introduced to simulate regional air connectivity and to make air travel affordable for the masses. But according to Ministry of Civil Aviation, the lack of availability of land and the creation of the regional infrastructure has led to delays in this scheme. And here, they are facing the issues related to obtaining license, and unsustainable operation of awarded routes are also contributing to delay. Because of these issues, along with the setback which has been faced by due to pandemic, it is acting as a major obstacle for effective utilization of funds or the overall purpose of the scheme. So these are the certain challenges which is being faced by the aviation sector. We will discuss few more challenges. Other set of challenges are related to the liabilities of Air India. So Air India, which has accounted for the biggest expenditure for the Ministry of Civil Aviation since 2011 and 12. So Air India has, even though budget allocations were there up to January 2020, Air India debt, accounted accumulated debt was somewhere around 60,000 crore. And the central government is repaying this debt in the financial year of 2021 and 2022. And in addition to the repayment in 2021 and 2022, the government will provide Air India with a fresh loan of rupees 4500 crore and even the grants of around somewhere around 1900 crore to recover from the shocks of the COVID-19. Not only that, to pay for the medical benefits of the retired employees of Air India, a recurring expenses of around rupees 165 crore will be borne by the central government each year. So this is showing that how the revenue expenditure and the debt expenditures related to Air India is has created liability for the central government. However, now we have the central government has sold that, but still there were revenue expenditure which was creating liabilities for the central government. So this is a challenge which is faced by one of the challenge which is faced by the aviation sector, because Air India plays, especially if we talk from government's point of view, then it was a huge liability. Also, recently, since it was in news that a lot of technical snags are happening in airlines, and according to DGCA, the causes were troubleshooting, requirement of replacing some of the other components, say windshield due to the outer layer crack, or defective valve, or high pressure switch, landing gear uplock, or hydraulic accumulator, or for that matter, engine. So all these things were causing technical has in the recent days it has created the problem of technical snag. However, DGCA is saying that no, don't worry at all. Indian aircraft carriers are absolutely safe, and most of these incidents of technical snags, they require troubleshooting only and just replacement. Okay, replacement of whatever we have discussed, the windshield or the defective wall, high pressure switch. So the regulator is saying that there is no need to worry absolutely. These are the routine snags and it happens every time. And in order to check that, the regulator has started, especially when it was in news, they have started 2 month long special audit of airlines to address these possible issues, and has curtailed the operations of SpiceJet among the other measures because they were there was amid this spurt of instances of technical snags. The SpiceJet was very much in news, so they have curtailed their operation also. So technical snag is a issue. Definitely, it is a issue, and it is one of the challenge because of which it was in news in the last month. So DGCA and the regulator, Director General of Civil Aviation, is saying that there is no need to worry at all. These are routine snags, and it happens, and we are taking following proper protocols. But yes, it is one of the challenge. Next, if we analyze from air safety point of view, so we have seen that the number of accidents on the first slide itself, we discussed the number of accidents. India is improving, and the data is also showing that from 2014 we have improved a lot, and now only 0.82 accidents are there. But still, the non-scheduled operators, especially the chartered and company flights, they account for 39.3% of of the 56 accidents which has happened in last 7 years, according to DGCA data from 2014 to 2020. So DGCA has provided the data from 2014 to 2020, and they are saying that in last 7 years, the out of 56 accidents whatever has happened, 39.3% comes from the non-scheduled operators, that is in chartered and company flight. So this is also one of the important issue. Okay, so these are the challenges related to technical snags, liabilities, or air safety. But one of the important issue which is there in news, because of the Russia and Ukraine war, there is shortage of vital spares. Particularly in the backdrop of this Ukraine and Russia war, titanium, which is a major component of aircraft spares and engines, is in short supply. Around 60% of titanium, it comes from Russia. So coupled with this problem and coupled with the shipping disruption and high fuel prices, the overall health of the airlines, the financial health of the airlines is getting affected. So be it shortage of vital spares, technical snags, liabilities, air safety, or whatever we have discussed previously. So this is one of the important aspect, that is shortage of vital space is happening because of the Ukraine Russia war, and shortage of titanium, and majority it comes from Russia, and it is very important component for spares and engines. And not only, along with that, we are seeing that the fuel prices have increased, the shipping disruption is happening. So overall cost, the financial health of the aircraft carriers, it is in a disturbed state, it is in a bad stage. In order to manage the challenges which we have discussed, there are certain steps which has been taken by government. So we will discuss them one by one. So you will get an understanding that what all is being done. So now you have very good understanding about the challenges. You have very good understanding about the challenges along with the data. Now let's understand the steps which has been taken. So government has taken a step of privatizing the airports to address the congestion issue. So in order to maximize the efficiency, overall operation, the management, the development on long term basis, the government is giving lease to, and they are developing the airports through PPP, that is public private partnership. And there are airports like Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Jaipur, Guwahati. So all these have been leased out to Adani Enterprises Limited for 50 years under Triple P. So this was even highlighted by Standing Committee on Transport 2021. They also noted that government is expect government should government expects to have 24 triple P airports by 2024. That is, by 2024, we will have 24 PPP airports. That is what government is expecting. So these steps are being taken care in order to monetize the land which is there, or to improve the efficiency, overall management and development on long term. Another step which has been taken by the government is the more budget has been allocated to Airports Authority of India in order to enhance their role so that they can address the structural issue. So ministry sees that Ministry has observed that the AI's role in future policy issues is very important, and to include high quality, safe, and customer oriented airport and air navigation services. It is the role of Airports Authority of India is very important. So in 2022-23, that is in this budget, the government has allocated rupees 150 crore to AAI, that is Airports Authority of India, which is almost 10 times higher than the budget estimates of 2021 and 2022. So in previous budget, whatever it was given, here this time they have allocated 150 crore. So why this is there? So that whatever a structural issue is being faced by the aviation sector, Airports Authority of India, which is responsible for managing all the airports, at least they will have funds with them in order to operate or in order to manage the things properly. We also saw that cargo airport, the air cargo has a lot of potential in India. So, in order to tap the potential of air cargo, the Standing Committee on Transport 2021 they recommended that Ministry should establish dedicated cargo airports, and they're also suggesting that automate the air cargo procedures and information system in order to reduce or in order to streamline the redundant processes. So to provide a level playing field for Indian cargo operators and to ensure equal opportunity for them, the concept of dedicated cargo airport has been recognized by the ministry in the revised open sky policy in 2020. So these steps has been taken so that at least India can will be able to utilize the potential. So process streamline ho jayega, there will be no regulatory bottlenecks, and in fact airport authority has been India has been given more fund also in order to deal with these issues. Okay, so ये हो जाएगा. Now another aspect of the steps which has been taken is related to the aviation turbine fuel. So we have seen that the aviation turbine fuel it is around 40, it contributes to 40% of the operational cost. So in 2020, the ministry has reduced the tax burden on ATF by eliminating fuel throughput charges, that is FTC. Fuel throughput charges को reduce किया गया है that were levied by the airport operators at all airports across India. So this ministry has reduced this tax burden. So they have eliminated it. Not only that, also the central excise on ATF was also reduced from 14% to 11% from 2018 itself. So the burden of central excise has been also reduced. Next, state governments have also reduced their VAT and sales tax on ATF drawn on the RCS airport, that is regional connectivity scheme के अंदर जो airports आते थे उन पे, so they have reduced it to 1% or less for 10 years for such airports. Okay, so these steps has been taken in order to reduce the overall burden on the rising cost because of the ATF and its associated coupled taxes. Okay. Also, the Standing Committee on Transport 2021 has recommended that the ATF should be included or it should be brought under the purview of GST, and applicable GST should not exceed more than 12% with full input tax credit. I hope these keywords are making sense to you. If not, then you should watch the video on GST so that you will these are the technical terms, it will give clarity to you. You will get clarity over all these things. Okay. Okay, next is related to the Air India, we were saying that government is already burdened and a lot of liabilities are there. So government has taken this step, and in October 2021, Air India has been sold to Thales Limited, which is a subsidiary of Tata Sons Private Limited, and it was approved. So the bid for Air India was finalized at rupees 18,000 crore, and a special purpose vehicle was formed by government to hold the assets and liabilities of Air India while the process of its sales takes place. So these are the steps which has been taken care by the government, and time to time policy support is also given by the government. So foreign investment up to 100% is allowed under automatic route. So FDI is allowed. And in the last year's budget, that is Union Budget 2021-2022, government lowered the custom duty from 2.45% to 0%. So this is very important. So custom duty has been reduced on components or the parts including engine or the manufacturing of aircrafts by public sector units of Ministry of Defense. So it has been reduced from 2.5% to 0%. So sale to हुआ ही है. Other than that, we are discussing what all policy support. So policy support में what all we have discussed. In policy support, government has allowed the foreign investment up to 100% through automatic route. And budget may we have seen the custom duty has been reduced from 2.5% to 0% on the components or the parts including engine and whatever manufacturing is done by the Ministry of Defense, the public sector units. Okay, so these are the steps which has been taken in order to take care of the congestion or the improving efficiency or infrastructure or capability for future or the present day the rising cost of ATF. So all these steps has been taken. Whenever we are talking about the aviation sector in India, so we have discussed the challenges, we have discussed the steps taken, we have discussed the data, very important data. But do not forget to mention about the National Civil Aviation Policy 2016. So under that, quickly we will see this is very old scheme. It is almost 6 years old now, but this is the latest one. So there, this regional connectivity scheme was of Udan was introduced, airfare of about 2500 per passenger for 1 hour flight. So yeah, for now the pandemic situation, so it is not very effective, but yeah, this was introduced. Then there is a requirement of 5 by 20 requirement that all airlines can now commence international operation provided that they deploy 20 aircrafts for 20% or 20% of their total capacity, which whichever is higher for domestic operation. So that is there. And what else? There is another bilateral traffic rights, that is government of India will enter into a open sky agreement with reciprocal on a reciprocal basis with the SAR countries and countries located beyond 5,000 kilometers from Delhi. So bilateral traffic rights. Then airport development under PPP mode, so that is also has been encouraged with the help of Airports Authority of India, state government or the private sector, they will together. So this is also, there is also a provision of that. Then related to MRO, that is maintenance, repair and overhaul. So the provision for adequate land for MRO service providers will be made in all the future airports or the heliport projects. Okay, wherever the potential for such MRO service exists. So there is a provision of improving the MRO services in India. Okay, so airport royalty and additional charges will be not levied on the MRO service, so that they can in their initial years they can operate without these additional cost. So such provisions are there. Also, there is a provision that the aviation education and skill building will be improved. So direct additional employment requirement of civil aviation sector by 2025 is about is expected to be about somewhere around 3.3 lakhs. So basically, under this, the policy provision is there that the training will be given in non-licensed categories, which will conform to the National Skill Qualification Framework Standard. So the focus is that we, through this policy, the aviation education and skill building will get a special focus, a special attention. So the along with it will be in sync. It will conform to National Skill Qualification Framework Standards. So ऐसे ऐसे कुछ कुछ provisions हैं, steps हैं, which you should know, and you can give a passing reference of it whenever you are talking about aviation sector in India. Now, whenever you want to wind up, you do talk about a way forward, and here take the help of the different committees. So there was a committee, Rohit Nandan Committee on Air Connectivity in 2011. However, that is very old. So we have another Parliamentary Standing Committee report is there on safety and security in India civil aviation. So it was in submitted report in May 2020 to itself. So they are talking about certain things. So they are talking about increasing the coverage, CISF coverage at airports. So they are saying that the committee has noted that out of 118 operational airports, only 64 airports are under CISF cover, and while 54 airports have no such cover. So they are recommending that central government should aim to bring all the operational airports under CISF security, and they are saying that periodic survey should be there to assess the changing threat perception at all airports in the country, be it bomb detection or the disposal squad. Next, they are recommending to expedite the installation of full body scanners at airports, so that the purpose of the full body scanner, and the next whatever 4 points we are going to 3 points we are going to discuss is related to, so that the congestion at the airports will be reduced. The faster clearance will happen of the queues at the checkpoints. So what are these? So the first they are saying is that full body scanner should be there. Next, they are saying that global best practice for biometric screening of passengers should be introduced, where we are taking help of facial recognition, we are taking the help of fingerprints, retinal scanning at airports. So this should be introduced. Then they are also, the committee is also recommending to install and operationalize radiological detection equipments as per the set deadline. This would, they are saying that this will enhance the technologies, will help in improving the convenience for the passenger, and for airports it will lead to faster clearance at the queues at the checkpoints. So maybe it will directly or indirectly help in reducing the congestion as well. Okay. And it also recommended that Ministry of Civil Aviation, in coordination with Ministry of Home Affairs, should ensure that CISF and the other security staff at the airports must be adequately sensitized in soft skills. So they are talking about soft skills to CISF personnel. So this is very important. So do mention it as a way forward whenever you are talking. Okay. And also you can add that in long term हमारे पास एयरक्राफ्ट बनाने की फैसिलिटी ही नहीं है, सो वी शुड टेक केयर ऑफ दैट एज वेल, कि जब घर में प्रोडक्शन होगा, कंट्री में प्रोडक्शन होगा, देन एमआरओ एंड अदर एंसिलरी इंडस्ट्रीज विल डेवलप, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगा ही होगा, बट एट द सेम टाइम द कॉस्ट विल कट डाउन. There will be a cut down on the dependency on the foreign players and the foreign carriers, producers. Next, there is a case study of best practices. So here we are talking about using the big data analytics to enable air safety. So we have Southwest Airlines from USA. So they have teamed up with NASA to continue or to improve the airline safety. So what they are doing, basically, their observation was that lot of data is vast amount of data is generated throughout the journey, be it the pilot reports or the warning reports or the control positions or the air traffic control communication. So when this data is closely monitored and analyzed, then it can streamline the overall operation and improve safety. For example, so they have the Southwest Airlines along with NASA, they are improving. How they are improving? So by using these intelligent algorithms, the NASA and Southwest Airlines, they have created an automated system that can use this amount of data, and by using the big data analytics they will be able to flag, they will be able to highlight anomalies, and they will be able to prevent accidents. So use such observation, use such committee's recommendation in order to suggest a way forward, that what India can do and what all we can learn from other countries. Okay. So this is it with the aviation sector, and especially why it was in news. And with the help of that news, we have covered the important issues, challenges, and the steps which has been taken by the government. Okay, so hope it was interesting. You got to know about a lot of things. Make use of the data, make use of the arguments, whatever we are discussing. So you just remember in what depth and in what dimension you have to discuss the issues. Then only you will be able to excel in the answer writing approach, or then only you will be able to understand any issue in depth. If you are just handling and discussing or understanding it superficially, then it is not going to help you, especially when you are talking about excellence. Okay. So take care, guys. We will meet on Monday. Today is Friday. So next we will meet on Monday. Till then, revise well. Take care of yourself. Weather is changing. Health ka dhyan rakho and make use of our handwritten notes which we are posting in the Telegram channel. Okay. So take care. Bye bye. See you all.